Welcome to episode 13 of Pause for Peace. My name is Jule. I pastor Hillwood Presbyterian Church USA that gathers on the west side of Nashville, Tennessee, in order to be sent out into the world, wherever we go each day, seeking to live the love of God. Today on episode 13, I want to speak a little bit once again about this Christian spiritual practice of Lent. Those who are a part of the Christian household have entered into this time when we are moving more diligently into the ways of Christ, when we are going about spiritual practices, when we might be reading the Holy Scriptures a little bit more. We might be stopping to pray throughout our day or one specific time in the day. We may be about acts of giving of ourselves. Maybe we're doing that through things that classically have been called acts of charity, ways that we can help other people in this world because of the grace of God. Maybe we're doing that by delving into justice issues. In the Presbyterian Church USA, our creation justice ministry has been calling us to stop each day in the calendar season of Lent, these 40 days that take us from Ash Wednesday to Holy Week through Maundy, Thursday, a day when we remember that Jesus gathered for a last meal with his followers, and he gathered them together and gave them the gifts of the bread and the fruit of the vine, that they might always remember him and that they might remember the pouring out of life that takes place for all in the world to live. We remember that act of Good Friday. We call it Good Friday because it's the day when Jesus kept trust in God as he gave up his own life. The ways of violence coming down upon his own body. Even so, he remaining committed to a way of nonviolence, that peace would prevail and could prevail for every one of us. And then we remember, of course, that this season of Lent moves into a time of Easter, a time of celebration, a time of joy, when we remember that death is not the end. There is new life that comes again and again and again, and we celebrate the risen Christ. So in this season of Lent, there is this intentional way in which we are called into a process of letting go, of releasing, of shedding aspects of our own desires, our own energies that want to pull us off center, that want to keep us from living and being the love of God each day. And you know, it's just a fact of life. We live in human bodies. We experience this world as flesh and also as soul. And it is innate in us that we have these climates or these powers, if you will, that are in us. We can be prone to despair. We can desire things and want to cling onto them, to crave things that we might think will give us instant physical gratification. We can find ourselves unable to get up and move in the direction we know we need to go. Some of us can just burn, can just seethe with rage that just becomes out of control and acts in ways that are harmful to ourselves and to others. These all are ways of being human beings. And this season of Lent is a time when we can pay attention to those energies that grow in us, and that we can keep ourselves centered in this path that Jesus teaches, that he shows in everything he does and says, that he shows this way of staying in grace, staying in peace and compassion, staying in love, trusting that there is a way that is a higher way, this way of love. And so that when those energies begin to rise in us and really to take us over and to keep us clinging and wanting to dominate and falling into despair and just being enraged with the actions of others or even ourselves, when that energy of sloth can just like take us right down, that we just don't even do what we know we want to do for ourselves and others. When any of those begin to rise in us, we can pause and we can remember that we are filled with the breath of life, that we are a people that contain the love which is God, and we can be called back to that and begin to live in a new way once again. So in this season of Lent, it's a time when we need to find a way to have a little space grow between those energies that can rise up quickly and the reaction that we might have, the ways that we might grasp, cling, want to hold on, and keep to our own way. The Christ path teaches us to find ways of letting go, to shed, to release. Now, I have already covered in episode 1 this practice called centering prayer, which is one way that we can learn the practice of surrendering and keeping ourselves in this pool of divine love that resides in each one of us, and remembering that it's even there, let alone being called back to it in a way that we can be aware and then live out of that. I've already covered that in episode 1, and there have been other ways along the way that I've reminded us that our breath, this breath of God that infuses our very being, that is such a gift, as simple to us as taking the next inhale. The breath of God, the ways that we move the energy of air in and through our bodies can be one way that we can be practicing a release. Remember, we can be taking those deep inhales. Let's try one right now, a deep inhale. And holding it for just a moment. And then when we release it all out, and we do so slowly and longer than the inhale. And as we do that, that's one way we are learning to shed, to release, to let go. There's some other techniques that I'd like to show you today that can be a helpful way to create this space to cultivate this path in each one of us of letting go more and more each day, that we can follow along in this way that we are actually moving through in the stories of Christian faith, this way of moving through what we call dying in order to be rising to new life, this cycle that we celebrate as those who are a part of the Christian household of dying and rising again and dying and rising again all along our path. Not only one time when we take a final physical breath, but all along the way. This way that we can be releasing, letting go, allowing for God to work in ways that will surprise us. And so there's a technique in Healing Touch. I'm trained as a certified Healing Touch practitioner. And there's a technique we use with our palms. So if you're listening right now, if you want to kind of begin to warm up your palms, if you're watching, you can see me doing this. But warming up our palms by rubbing our palms together. And then we just take our palms and we, throughout our body, we just gently wipe away just about an inch or so from our body, or further away from our body if you want, this field that is all of our space, if you will, all of our personal space. It literally is all of our energetic space. And we can just kind of wipe away. It's one way we can promote and encourage that action in us, that emotional, mental, and spiritual action of releasing. So just kind of like wiping our hands, we can do them one by one, wiping away whatever might be arising and seeking to attach in us. We can just be setting that intention, praying, God, please allow me to let this go. I realize this might look a little funny if you're doing this like in the middle of the grocery store because you just got really mad with the person that's like hogging the aisle with their cart. And so maybe you just need to do your breath then and remind yourself to come back to this sense of peace. Maybe that's not the time to suddenly start wiping away all around your field with your hands. But if you're doing this practice right now, somewhere in privacy, perhaps you're like beginning to notice inside a shift. You can be breathing, setting that intention of I'm letting go. God, I'm letting go. I'm letting go of my fears right now. I'm letting go of any anxiety right now. Maybe your prayer is, as you do this, which in Healing Beyond Borders curriculum is called field repatterning, hands in motion over the whole body. Maybe your prayer right now is that you're letting go of anxiety, or you're letting go of the anger that is just like seething in you and turning into a raging fire. Your anger, every one of these emotions, experiences is justified. The problem becomes when we start to live out of these in a reactionary way, when we feel that anxiety in our chest and then we clench and then we act in a way that is actually working against the good of ourselves and the good of another. So we return to this place of just wiping those away, repatterning our field, if you will. If you can reach behind you, you can do it behind your back. It can be hard to do on yourself. And just allowing ourselves to release. Another good way that is the surest way to really kind of move things in your body and allow them to release is literally to move your body. You can do that through gentle movements, just swaying. You can sway back and forth and around. Just gently allow things to move. If you're feeling tension anywhere in your body, you can continue to invite that energy, that God will allow that to release. And you can even move that part of your body. You might be feeling tense in your shoulders. You might just want to move those around a little bit and let them go. Maybe you feel sloth in your hips, and so you just need to move your hips around a little bit. And that might, maybe even bouncing them around a little bit. And that might begin to get some movement going, some release, some letting go. This path that the Christ is teaching, we read this in the Gospels. He's teaching, we don't read about him like moving his body and teaching his disciples to dance around. We read about him telling his disciples that the path that lie ahead is the path of releasing, of letting go. He uses the word dying. It's the path of dying to our own appetites, our own desires, our own ego asphyxiations. It's letting that go, that this love that is in us will grow larger and larger, and that we will live according to that aspect, that aspect of God that is in each one of us, that we will live according to the ways of love. That's the way that God brings us back to life again and again. So you might be moving your hips as a way to promote letting go, releasing. Sometimes people just literally shake their whole bodies. You might close your eyes and just sort of bounce around a little bit. Get yourself loose and free. Ooh, so many of us live like way too constricted. It can be so easy to live constricted. And so to just like shake a little bit of that energy free. I mean, how can we be free in the love that is God if we are so tight and tensed in our bodies? We can't be free. We can't be joyous. We can't be full of laughter. We can't be full of love when we are so tense. So just shake it out a little bit and maybe breathe a little bit. Now, you are welcome to go crazy all over your room if you want, just shaking it out and releasing. Go for it. There are days where I'll just like put on a favorite song, put on a drumming song. I love to put on drumming music and then just shake along with that rhythm, just shake along and see what happens, just how things might release. It's all a way to promote letting go, releasing, being ready to live in a new way. To rise from this moment when I am so set on my way that I will not allow that prayer of Christ, that prayer in the garden when Jesus prays, "Thy will be done." When he teaches his followers to pray in that way, saying, "God, thy will be done." So just keep on moving. You can put a little music on in the background, even during this podcast. Moving your body around. Depending on what energies are in you right now, you may really need to move and really get going and maybe even punch it out if you need to. Whatever it might be, you might need to move your feet and kick your feet around a little bit. Don't kick at anybody or anything. Don't kick the dog right now. But just like whatever you need to do to release the energies that get stuck in us. The ways that we are not ready to be surrendered servants to the way of love. All right, so let's just keep on for another moment or two. Hopefully you're feeling some release. And if you're doing the shaking and dancing and moving your body around, I'm going to invite you to return to that practice of just smoothing out your energetic field, moving your hands around your body, your palms kind of wiping away any energy that might be stuck, any energy that might be frayed, any energy that might feel heavy. Sometimes we can experience great heaviness in our bodies. So we might begin to come to some stillness with our movements other than our hands. And just keep on moving through our field. If there's anything that feels stuck still within you, you might even take your fingers like rakes, just kind of rake right around the edges, the physical edges of your body. Just rake whatever that is down into the earth. It's the beautiful thing about the earth. It vibrates at a higher energetic frequency than us. And so whatever imbalanced energetic frequencies are in us, we can just rake them down into the earth. It all is transmuted back into love, back into new life, into energy that is able to feed all of creation. So I'd like you now, if you would, to take your palms, put them in front of your throat area right now with your palms outward. And then if you will take them up above your head as you bring your palms together. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Another deep breath in and a deep breath out. And if you would, begin to open up your palms, and your palms will be facing towards your body. You're going to be going around the outer edge of your body. So one hand, one palm is facing like towards your right ear. Your right palm is facing towards your right ear. Your left palm is facing towards your left ear, as you are just creating a bubble of love. It's like you're tracing an oval shape, maybe like an egg shape around you with your palms, all the way around your body, all the way down beyond your feet. If you can't reach down to your feet, then you just trace with your palms as far as you can, with that intention that you're tracing that oval shape all the way down to below your feet, about a foot below your feet or further. And then let's bring our hands, our palms back to our heart space in the middle of our chest. We can put one hand over the other. So one palm is actually on your chest. The other palm is on the back of your other hand. And we can take another deep breath and hold it for just a moment and release it. Take another deep breath. Hold it a moment and then release. So let's return to a moment of stillness. Now that we have been about these techniques that help to promote letting go, that help to promote release, if you'll return to just a moment with your palms still on your chest, in the middle of your chest. And if you would, just begin to notice what's happening inside your body, inside your skin. If there were points of tension in your body as you were about this practice, see how things might have shifted, what you might be noticing now. If you were really, really moving fast and shaking around all over, perhaps you might even notice your heart is beating really strong and really fast right now. So this moment of silence can be kind of begin to be that time when we can sort of wind things back down into stillness, into calm. Today's practice might have been one that was very far beyond your comfort zone. And so if you'll just notice, take note of that. It's information for you. You know, you have been given a body to live in. God desires to live through your body and to experience life, this beautiful world, through your body. And so notice if you are feeling embarrassment or shame or just a sense of disconnect in your body. There might be places in your body that need to be healed because of ways your body has been violated, ways that you have been wrongfully accused because of your body, perhaps because of the color of your skin or the kind of body you are in, whatever gender or anatomical sex you may be experiencing in this world. And so paying attention to your experience of being this embodied creature is really important, because God is living in you and desires to experience the beauty and joy and fun of life, the delights of life through you. And God desires to radiate peace, to be able to be a beacon of love in this world. so that your body is like this amazing tool for love in this world. So pay attention to what you're noticing now in your body. I want to return us to that teaching from Jesus, that this season of Lent is this time of preparation, this like practice time to be in this process, moving further in this journey of letting go, that we can unite ourselves, our total selves, our soul and our body with that prayer of the Christ. Thy will, my Lord, thy will, my love, my God, thy will be done. And so notice what you're experiencing now in your body. And if you need to pause this podcast or repeat it and do a little bit more movement or shaking because things might still be tight or tense in your body, go for it. If you are experiencing a sluggishness, which you might also be experiencing, perhaps you can now drop into a time of quiet and be noticing and paying attention to that. If you are experiencing pain anywhere in your body, if any physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual pain has arisen, the last time I really did a dance and shook it out with music, I experienced my heart space just like feeling pangs of anguish. I had no idea where it came from. So I just went into a time of meditation and just listened for what came. And a deep, wonderful release came, this enlightening experience of connectedness with my family and those who have gone through tremendous difficulty in my family. And I just suddenly felt connected to that pain and that anguish that they had experienced. And there was a way that the shaking of my body and the movement of my body, it's almost like it shook loose that pain, and it just needed a little bit of space to just continue to explore what that was about. It might be a time you might sit down and journal a little bit, or take a note on your phone, even a recorded note on your device, whatever might be helpful right now for you, so that you continue to be moving through this season, especially if you are a part of the Christian household, if you are seeking to follow in the ways of Jesus, that you might be able to move a little bit further in this path of releasing, of letting go, so that each and every day you can live the love that we know is God. Thank you so much for joining me today for episode 13. Be gentle with yourself now that you have been about this pause for peace. Restart the movements of your day in a way that is in congruency with what you're experiencing within. And I look forward to seeing you next week for episode 14 of Pause for Peace. Don't forget to check out Conversations for Peace, released last week, episode 1, a conversation with our dream co-facilitator, Maddie Fowler. Blessings. See you next week.